Yep, we're painting with fluorescence again. Hi guys, Jonathan from Two Raven Studios. If you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe, we have new videos every week and you don't want to miss out. Today's video is going to be about a game I really like to play. It's actually right here, Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm a big fan of superheroes and comics. I have been since I was a kid. I actually bought these sunglasses because I thought they kind of looked like Cyclops' civilian outfit, and Cyclops was always one of my favorite characters. I've had the game since it came out, and I've painted 0 miniatures for it to completion. The game also has these measuring sticks, which are plastic, and they're a nice blank canvas that we can use to paint however we want. I'm going to be painting them fluorescents, and if you watched my fluorescent review video, you know that the brightest ones I found were the ones from Green Stuff World, so that's what we're going to be using today. So we're going to be starting with the airbrush, so let's hop right into it with our fluorescent paints. So these pieces have been primed black, and now I'm going in with a white primer and lightening up all the recessed areas that we're going to paint with fluorescent paints. You could alternatively just prime it white to start, but I did it this way, hoping that it was going to make my life easier later on. It really wouldn't be any difference if you primed it white. Next up, we're going to use a mix of Arcane Blue and Fluoro White. I just wanted a fluorescent turquoise, and Green Stuff World doesn't make one. I actually haven't been able to find a fluorescent turquoise, so we're going to go with this. And we're just painting most of these recessed areas with this color. When we're painting with these fluorescent paints, we want to work from light to dark, so this is going to be the lightest tone on here. I'm going to leave a few small areas white, but for the most part, we're covering most of it with this Arcane Blue. And Green Stuff World, if you're listening, I want a fluorescent turquoise paint. Next up, we're going to use Fluoro Blue, and we're just going to darken some of the areas down. So, kind of around the edges, a lot towards the bottom in that big open area. We just want to create visual interest here by changing up the colors. And again, we started with the lighter turquoise color, now we're moving to a darker blue. We're going from light to dark. This is going to be the same process on all of these sticks. I'm just kind of breaking it down on this 4, and we will go through it quickly on all of the other ones. You can kind of see the way my finger's moving, pressure on and off, that's what you want. Nice short burst of paints so we don't have any big blobs that are going to run. And last step, we're going to use Fluoro Violet to darken some areas down. The violet over the blue is going to kind of read as a darker blue instead of a violet, which is what we want. We're trying to create the feel of a dark, stormy night, and we're going to add lightning effect in later, but right now we're just trying to create that dark sky, and this is helping darken that blue up for us. The fluorescent paints are rather transparent, so when we put them over top the other ones, we can get some cool color gradients. Now we're moving on to the 5 stick. We're going to start with yellow, and we're going to concentrate this mainly towards the bottom, and then we're going to make it thinner as we go up. We're kind of make this look like an explosion that is going to be darker as it moves away from the center. Next up, we're going to use yellow-orange, and again, we're continuing up further out. We can go around some of the edges to darken them down, but mostly we're continuing the blast up with this color. And next up with orange. So again, we're going around the edges and we're going up farther on the piece. You can kind of see I'm trying to make the edges have that orange glow. Angle the piece however you have to. That was a little bit too much of a spray, but it's mostly on the raised areas that we're going to cover later anyway. And just for something a little bit different, I went with rose on the end of this to kind of give the end of the blast a little bit of pink. And you can go back in with the different areas. Again, it's transparent, so it will actually darken down the colors to make them more orange. Alright, now we're painting the 3. We're going to start with that Fluor Rose I just used, the pink color, and we're going to concentrate it more towards the center areas. This one is actually my least favorite, how it turned out, but it still looks decent. Next up, we're going to use the fluorescent red, and we're going to go around the edges more. You can kind of see I left the edges with the white color, so the red's going to shine through over the white a little bit better. And we're going to transition into the pink by kind of feathering it in with the airbrush. And the last step, we're just going to, again, use the violet color to darken down the edges the same way we did with the 4 stick. You can kind of see I'm concentrating on the edges more so than any of the other parts. It's really going to give us a nice transition. And lastly, the 2 stick, we're going to go right in the center of it and use yellow. And I'm going to add a little bit in the dots as well. Then we're going to switch over to lime, which is their green color, and feather out from there. And again, kind of still leaving the edges open. We're just going out with the lime. This color is covering the most surface area on this stick. And lastly, we're going to go back in with the blue and kind of create some transitions on the very edges to make them a little bit darker. And once this step is done, all the airbrushing will be done for these pieces. So you can kind of see what they look like finished. What we want to do is we're going in with a mix of black primer and black ink. The primer's for coverage, the ink so it flows, and we're carefully just painting all the raised areas black because we want those recessed areas to really stand out with those bright fluorescent colors. So just take your time with it and paint all those areas. Now we could leave it here, but I want to add a little bit more detail, so I'm going to put lightning bolts on the 4. They're all getting something a little bit different. So 4 is getting some lightning forking through these parts. So the first color we're going to use is the same color we used through the airbrush at first. It's a mix of arcane blue and fluorescent white. Again, I'm trying to create more of a turquoise fluorescent paint. The other thing too is by mixing with actual more opaque paints, it's going to be easier for this to cover over everything else. As I said before, the fluorescent paints are very transparent. So again, we're just painting fork lightning wherever you want. Kind of less is more here. Just going through the area and painting these shaped lightning. Once you're happy with that step, we're going to go back in with a mix of white and fluorescent white and kind of paint in all the junctions between it and just lighten up any areas we want to lighten up. We don't want to undo what we did in the first step, we just want to reinforce it. So this is probably going to take you the longest out of any of the steps, so we're just kind of going in and creating brighter areas. You can create little forks off of it too that don't have the turquoise underneath. If you watch a lot of my videos, you'll probably know that I use Sickly Skin by P3 instead of white most times because it's an off-white. This is one instance where you want a pure bright white. The white I'm using here is actually an artist color, but you can use any white in your collection. And again, it's mixed with the fluorescent white just so if we put these pieces under a black light, they have a little bit of fluorescent in the lightning as well. But just move around till you're happy, painting in these lightning bolts and kind of reinforcing them. At first I was at a loss what to do on the 3, but I just decided to add some lines on the inside of these. I'm not fully happy with how it turned out, but I'm using a mix of white with the fluorescent rose paint here. And just drawing kind of lines following the shape that's already on the piece. I'm going to do a double line through those horizontal ones, and then the vertical ones are going to get a single line down the middle. Just take your time and try to line them up carefully. Some of mine are a little off, but It's a range ruler, so whatever. And now with a mix, again, of just white and the fluorescent white, we're going to kind of cross-hatch the areas that are connecting. So we're making the connection points there brighter. You kind of see what I'm doing. Gives it kind of a neat effect. So I forgot to hit record for most of the other 2 sticks, but it's pretty much the same process. It's a mix of white and the fluorescent yellow, and I'm kind of dotting in the center. I did the same thing around the 5 on the longer stick, and then once this is complete, I'm going to do the same thing with white and fluorescent white mixed together, just dotting in the center to brighten up that area. Same process I did on the 5. So we have the final results. Here is the 5 stick. So if we can get it into focus. You can kind of see it has the dots, little focus around here, and it leads up like this. We have a little bit of pink on the end there as the camera goes out of focus, but that's our 5. Looks like a cool, nice, bright explosion. Our number 4 is our lightning storm. So here's our lightning storm. You can kind of see painting those lines, some of it is the turquoise color, some of it is more the white. The junction points is the parts we made brighter to give you a different kind of feel there. This is actually my favorite one out of the set that I did. Now we're going to have my least favorite one out of the set, which is the 3. I really didn't know what to do with this for the details in the middle. You can kind of see I'm not happy, especially like in here where it didn't line up right, but it's serviceable, and again, it's just a measuring tool, so it's not that big a deal. We just want to make it look a little bit different, so we put those lines in there. And the last one, which I actually really like as well, is the 2. So the 2, you can kind of see the bright part in the center that we painted, and then it fades out at the edge. So that was painting our range measurement sticks for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Maybe one of these days I'll actually paint some of the miniatures, and we'll have a tutorial about that. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please give me a like and a share. It really helps the algorithm and helps me out. And I'd like to know how you guys painted your measurement tools for the game, so leave some comments below and we can discuss different ways to paint it. Like I said, I painted 2 sets. The other set I actually painted with some color shift paint, so maybe I'll post some pictures of that up on my Facebook page so you guys can check those out too. Until next time, keep on gaming and paint your minis.